Hello, YouTube. Today we are starting a new rubric podcast with Knife Enthusiast. And we are going to discuss in these videos basically via Zoom online, going to chat, going to ask questions, and type the comments if you like this type of the rubric. And if you want to participate in this type of rubrics with us, and if you have a big collection. And today I want to introduce Russ Cannon. Russ is actually owner of Daggerr, that's why we know him. He has two knives, Quaiken and Parrot. Probably he'll talk about it in a few minutes. And he has a pretty big collection, so you can see right now. And okay, so let's start. So today we will be talking about the knives. So,
Okay.
Russ, my first question to you is actually how you get into this knife, collecting, and why you have so many machetes. Can you talk about this?
Well, sure. Well, of course, I like knives. My grandfather collected knives, and I spent a lot of time looking at his knives when I was a little boy. And then I had a period of just, I had a knife that I carried, but I didn't really perpetuate a collection yet. And then, if I were to be honest about why I got into why I was cutting, it's a strange combination of things. I think it was a combination of, my family, we watched the show Forged in Fire, and I enjoyed the show, and it was fun, but I never really was interested in forging though. Then I just liked the show, and I like the knives and the swords and all the stuff. It's just a neat show. A lot of people enjoy it. And then they had a show that was Knife for Death. It was like an offshoot of Forged in Fire, and there was like a cutting where they just cut crazy things, and I don't know why. When I saw that show, I'm sorry, I'm having to adjust. It just looked like fun, and occasionally I just get dumb ideas. I don't know why that I pursue, and I was like, I think that I'm just going to start trying to cut things. It looks like a lot of fun, and really it's too expensive to shoot. Really. So, and it's easier to cut, but it really does provide a very similar satisfaction. Like if you like bowling and you have a good approach and release, and you're in the pocket and you explode the pins, or you like golf and you swing and you're head down and you're in the proper form and it does what you want. There's a feeling of satisfaction. You've executed something and you just like, we'll just do it that way every time, but it becomes addicting in terms of it's just fun it's a fun thing to do. It's easy. I can do it while I'm at home, and it's not expensive. I mean, I'll go to recycling and get targets. I work at a place to where we have these tubes and pallets and stuff I can set up on, and so really it's just been kind of and it's cathartic. And my daughter likes to come out and hang out, and I have a friend at work. I'm like, well, let's, after work, let's fool around out here. And people like knives, and they like seeing what they can do. And I have friends in the knife community, really, their forte is presentation, there's one of my introductions to the online community is a man named Donovan too. And he has a beautiful collection of knives, and he keeps them. I'm sorry, my screen keeps dimming, so I have to brighten it up. But he has an amazing collection, and they're all just peak condition and beautiful and polished. And he'll do these presentations, and it's just great to watch. But I mean, my knives, they're rough. I mean, they're beat up, and I mean, I wipe them off and stuff, but I mean, they're scarred. I'm a little sad. I was a little sad about the Parrot because it was pristine for a while, and I cut some cans with it and scarred it. And I mean, sometimes I feel a little bit of regret, but I mean, there's other knives that I've taken and just punch holes in the direct TV dish because I wanted. I mean, not total destructive testing, but part of it's the curiosity of it's like a kid of, I wonder if I could just chop that. I mean, it's not like scientific. And then you get a little bit involved, and then there's people who are very good at it and know about edge geometry and approach and controlling the blade. Like, for instance, the reason I have a lot of knives now, and I have swords and machetes and crazy stuff, and I'm interested in all kinds of stuff. I like to throw knives, or and so I'm in a lot of different directions because it's so much fun. But I still don't have a katana though, out of everything, because the guys who do it, they soak it's very traditional, and I'm not, and if I were to get one, I would really have to commit to it in a way that I don't commit to other cutting. I'm a little bit kind of laissez-faire and just kind of fooling around, and I wouldn't want to disrespect, because that sword really has a long, legitimate tradition. And out of the enthusiasts, that's the sword, that people use for real cutting mostly. I mean, there's other good European swords they have competitions, but as far as a katana, I mean, it's a katana. But the guys who do it, they know all the names of the parts, all the Japanese parts. They can disassemble the thing. They have the stances, and it's very disciplined. And so it's like I just want to see what my chopper would do to a batting helmet. I want to know if I can chop this. Part of it is being a kid. Part of it, but not dangerous. Not irresponsible. I mean, I don't. But I don't know. It's just kind of been strange. I saw the show. I start doing it. Of course, they canceled the show. Can't have any fun because of COVID. So that's over with. But if they bring it back, maybe I'll be ready. Maybe it'll work. If they bring it back, they'll be like this guy. But I have to get in better shape. I went and recently competed in a blade sports competition, which is like another. I've been to a couple.
Yeah, are you preparing for the blade sport?
Yeah, and those guys, I mean, it was terrible. Like, I did pretty good the first two that I did, and then because I had done two, and it's kind of tough because you have to be close to where they're doing it, but the guys who've been doing it for years, I mean, they blew my mind. I mean, they're incredible. I mean, they really, and it's a style of cutting that it's different. But there's chopping, but I took the class and I got certified, and I have the highest respect. But I mean, like, after I got through a couple of those 2x4s, and I don't know what it was. I mean, it was just, that thing felt like it weighed 1,000,000 pounds, and I just couldn't get up to the finesse cut. And it's one thing to do it in your yard, when you're practicing, but it's another thing to, feel the adrenaline. I have a lot of respect for that. That's something that I've done, and boy, it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, those guys, some of those guys are incredible. The guy that I took the class from, you have to get certified, and of course, I break all kinds of certifications. I shamed the blade sports with my cavalier amateurishness. I put my glasses back up with my blade hand, and they were nice enough not to disqualify me, is how out of sorts I was. So I'm a long way from being like what really good is. The guy who taught my class, his name's Donovan Phillips. He holds like the world record for like the water bottle slice, and he 29 water bottles is the record. Now, my personal best with a 10-inch blade is 17, which is still a lot. I want to get to 20. But if I lined up 29 water bottles on a thing, and it might as well be a quarter mile long. I mean, when you look at it, you get a real appreciation for it. And that's keeping it level. And and all this, some things look easy to do. They're not easy. Other things look hard, but once you figure them out, they're not hard. I mean, there's so much to fool with. I mean, as far as just.
So for you, you more like this cutting, and you get into this cutting rather than just collecting, just carrying.
Yeah. Well, I do. I did use them as a tool, but I only had like a couple of knives. And as far as collecting them, it's just collecting things so I can cut with them. As far as actually, well, one of the reasons, and I regret it, but one of the reasons I didn't get the limited edition arrow, other than, I have to be picky about what I get, because budget wise, that's one of the reasons I like machetes. You can collect machetes and get an awesome machete for $30. If you collect swords, I mean, you gotta wait. So, but it was beautiful and I wanted it, but I knew that I wouldn't use it because it's too pretty and it's too lovely. And I would want to put it and not use it, so I didn't get it. Probably I'll wait. I want a black production model that I can stab stuff with and slash things, because that's
soon it will be. But I need to tell you that arrow is not cutting as good as Daggerr or the parrot. Yeah, because it's a dagger, it will be cutting a little bit worse.
Yeah, well, I'll probably would do more stabbing with the arrow, and I can see how sometimes when you're cutting, like if there's a finger choil, and you need precision, that's great to have. But if you're wanting to really, you can get caught up on the choil, and then you can talk about whether it's a choil you want that or not. And it really does matter what you're using it for, and I can tell because the design's so unique, and really the whole, and that is what that's what I like about the company. I mean, I genuinely, it's weird how I came upon your knives. Actually, I was looking for do you want to hear about that? Do you want to hear about?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
Yeah, might as well. But I love coming upon this, honestly. I mean, it was great. So I was looking around for an automatic knife. And someone had posted a video of I think it's the Kodeshki. Is that how it's pronounced? There was out the front knife that y'all had produced.
Cachet?
The Cachet?
Yes.
Okay, well, boy, when I saw that thing, I was like, whoa. I mean, I really was impressed with it. And I can't remember who had done the review of it, but they were very complimentary, and it looked very well made, and I loved the aesthetic of it. It looked mean, and I was like, I'll carry that thing. I mean, I liked it. I liked the whole aesthetic of it. It appealed to me, certainly. And when I went to look, I mean, I couldn't really work it out to get one from your site. This was in Christmas of last year. This is the first time I heard of the Daggerr company. And then I kind of looked around, and I saw that y'all were carried by Blade HQ, but it was out of stock, and that was really your only American distributor. So luckily, I'm on the Blade HQ because I buy knives from them. I bought a few things from them, and they sent me about that the Sting was in stock, and this was a few months back. And when I went on to look at the Stings, the Parrot was there. Now, they didn't say anything about the Parrot. It was the only one, and I scrolled down, and I'm like, well, now I had seen the Parrot, and I really wanted the Parrot. That out of all, if I couldn't get the automatic, that one or the Vendetta, the big one, the pocket sword, because I mean, I liked it because, and it turned out to be just the awesomest knife. It's just great. I mean, when I got it, and of the 5 I brought, I have it here. I will hear the Parrot, and my you can see the scars from the can.
Yeah,
where I chop, but man, really great temper. I mean, I really, I'm not easy on this knife at all. I'm not easy on any of my knives, and it really holds its edge. It's easy to sharpen it, and I really like it because it's almost
great. And what do you carry on EDC?
Well, for instance, like most of the time I'll carry, because where I'm at, I'll have, like, for instance, I'll carry a smaller fixed blade like this.
Oh,
this is a cool little rasp knife that I got.
So for
and I just like it. It's awesome. And then I also carry usually 2 knives, and I have just a smaller, nothing fancy banger type knife that I'll gum up with boxes or whatever. This is just like a little Kershaw, and it's nothing fancy. But usually I'll carry one for small jobs, and then just a bigger one just because I can. You can even say it's like my emotional support knife. It just makes me feel warm and fuzzy when it's on my hip, and I'm in a state to where I could carry a katana if I wanted to. So I might as well and plus I just like to whip it out and cut stuff. It's fun. But with the Daggerr, with the Parrot, Now this, it's almost big enough to be like a fixed blade. I mean, to where it's really got some length, but it's not too big. It's like, because some of the cold steel knives that are really big, and those are fun, but I still haven't got one of those. It's almost, but this, it's like the perfect size for everyday carry for me. I mean, and plus it's got the glass break. It's just, I don't know. It's not uncomfortable to carry. It's not too heavy for how big it is. And so when I got it, I mean, this is still the knife I probably carry most often. And I got it really, and also it has the button lock. That I did not have a button lock knife. And I was looking at maybe a Civivi. They just come out with one. I was thinking maybe I'll get that one. But when this one became available, I'm like, well, now it's, and you can't underestimate the well, they say fidget factor. And just nobody wants to say that because it's goofy. Because then you think of fidget spinner, and nobody wants to be associated with that. But if it's not, it's awesome. But you'll get on your wife's nerves. You'll sit and start fooling with it, and then it's like, well, I can do it that way. I'll sit and fool with the, because I thought it was interesting how it was tensioned. You could shake it out if you really wanted to. It's nice. It's like really well proportioned. But I have the upside down open, to sling it out for fun. So I'll sit and fool with these things. I do. And
okay,
then what really made it cool was the screw. I've never seen that. A couple of my friends were like, I've never seen that. That's not, I don't know if anybody else has done it, but what a cool idea. And it really, when I tested the thing, it addressed the only flaw, which isn't really in a flaw in the knife. It's just, if you accidentally hit the button, it releases the lock. And if you're stabbing, you can kind of slide, but we can totally fix that, And then when I got it locked up, you kind of even have like a whole nother series of applications, and it's not difficult to get that worked out. And it just, the whole thing is cool. This is one of the coolest knives that I've gotten, and so it's why I'm a fan of the company. Plus, even for a folder, I got 8 water bottles with this little thing. It will cut. It's got a lot of, for a folding knife. This thing, I would say that totally suited for self-defense, this for a folding knife. It really just, for me, and the clip, and the whole aesthetic, and just, I love this thing. And that's not to say it's for everybody, but boy, the aesthetic was for me. And the same, and I didn't bring the Quaker, but again, I love it the same way. And the bigger knives are going to appeal to me. Now, I wanted the Sting for the pocket knife, but really the Vendetta, the big one, the those kind of things are mostly aesthetically what I would like. Yeah, I didn't have time to watch the whole thing about the titanium one. Ooh, boy. Yeah, that's exciting. I know you got to be excited about it.
Yeah, I really love this knife. I have a few questions. So how many knives usually you carry? You carry 2 blades, like a fixed one and the small folding?
Yeah, usually 2 or just if I'm going to, 2 usually. And sometimes I'll carry, sometimes I've been a big blade as big as I can comfortably carry, about 9 inches or whatever. Sometimes I can go out on my break and, it's just, but yeah, usually 2, I guess.
And what is your city or your state knife laws? Can you carry over there any knife?
Yeah, you carry whatever you want. You carry whatever you want here.
Great.
Usually in the southern region of the United States, the attitudes seem to be more towards, as far as gun laws, we have concealed carry here, and in adjoining states, and then in the northern part of the United States, it's much more restricted.
Okay, thanks. And we also agreed that you're going to show 5 folders. Well, why folders? Because we mainly do the folders, and I really like the folding knife. So what are the top 5 folders that you want to show us?
Okay, well, the first one I did the parrot, and that's not because you're the man behind the parrot, because I sincerely love the knife, and that's certainly how I feel about it. This I got this auto here. I like it. I carried it for a while. They sent it in this little pouch too, kind of nice. But this is a Meekoff.
Yeah.
And I was looking for an out the side. Now, one of the things I like is just unusual knives and part like with the button lock with the Parrot. And I like this because it has this mechanism I thought was unusual and kind of unique. And this knife, it's well made for what it costs. You know, if you look at the automatic knives, they can get very expensive or they're kind of cheap, and it's kind of different. And that's one of the things when I was looking at the automatic that y'all made of a high quality but not exorbitantly priced. That's a great place to be. I mean, just good quality, worth what you paid, but not just out of reach for regular people. So that's another thing I like about the brand. And this was it was under $100. So, but it's really well made and I liked it. And I carried it for a while. And even though it has like this Daggerr style blade, you know, this it's just sharp on this side. So it's not double edged or anything. And it's just kind of, I don't know. I liked it. When I made a demonstration video of it, instead of, it's one of the only videos I have where I'm opening my daughter's candy and I'm opening a piece of mail. I use it for very mundane, non-exciting things, you know.
Okay.
The other knife I brought, now this is a common knife for everybody here, but this is the only balisong that I have here. It's the old Kershaw Luca. It's a very popular model. And now I've fooled with this thing. I've cut myself. I probably should have got a training blade, but that's, you know, so if you can see, I haven't sharpened it since I bought it. It's all, the blade's chewed up where I've dropped it. And I haven't made it sharp so it doesn't cut me as bad if I swing it. And I took the latch off and I'll fool with it at night, but this is the only one I have, but it's a great knife. I mean, it really is. It really, when I first tested it, it cuts very well. You can theoretically carry this thing. I mean, it's tight when it's open. I mean, if you carry it in a slip purse, it's pretty cool. I'm not going to try to get fancy here while I'm sitting. I'll probably stab myself in the leg and then you have a great first podcast. But it's a basic thing, but it's another thing to fool with. But butterfly knives, that's a young man's game. If you see the people who can do these things, I haven't seen no butterfly knife people under the age of 25. I mean, that's young dexterity. This old man, but it's fun to play with. You know, it's unusual. I wanted at least one. And when I researched, this seemed to be the best for the money. So I get this one. It's a very good knife too, functionally. If you wanted to have one, this would be a very good one to get, I think. And I've got this thing here I wanted to show you. This is the Fred Perrin Trifolder. Have you ever seen one of these things?
No, it's my first time I see knife like this.
Okay, well, it's got this mechanism here. See, this is the situation. So this is an unusual knife in the way that it opens. Now, the reason I have this thing, because really what I wanted was a gravity knife. You know, and gravity knives, there's just not a lot of gravity knives. You've got Paragon Warlock, which is really neat, but it's high dollar. You know, I mean, I don't know. You know, it's cool. But again, if I had it, it didn't seem practical to carry it around, or I wouldn't want to abuse it. Seems those titanium clamshells seem a little iffy. You know, Cold Steel made, I think it's called the Tri-Action knife. Now, it was different. It wasn't hinged like this. The blade was hinged on this end, and then this was hinged on this end, and you would swing it. This would come down, the knife would go up, and then this would go back into place, locking the knife in. And it was sturdier, and now those things are very expensive on the secondary market. I mean, I wish they would just make more of them, you know, and then you can maybe find a replica of the German paratrooper gravity knife, but that's not really fun. You can't do anything with it. It just falls out, you know. So this thing, that brings me to this thing, the Fred Perrin Trifold knife. Now, if you people that I saw modified these to where this did not hold in and it just was loose so they could open it. But the one trick it has, I don't know if I can do it here. So you've got
Wow.
the you can fool with it and deploy it in a fun way. You know, and so that's why I get it. I fool with it. I whip it out. I cut the grape. I'm like, you served your purpose. You know, you were fun. Now, as far as I want to say, functionally speaking, the lockup on this thing's shaky. You know, you're like, I mean, if you were to try to carry this and use it, I mean, I could probably, you know, I mean, it's better than nothing. But I mean, functionality, it's just for fun. And this thing was like maybe like $25, you know, and worth what I paid, and I fool with it, and it's unusual, and it's another little neat thing in the collection. And then, so there's that. And then lastly, I have the knife of unknown origin. I don't know what this is. I bought this knife for my wife. She you know, she always getting packages and stuff, and she has a little trouble with her left hand, and she can't really, you know, and so I wanted to get her an automatic knife. And when I got this, I knew it would be perfect. I got it off this website called Etsy, which is normally crafts and stuff, but they sell some stuff, and I don't know what it is. It's got a Bakelite handle. It doesn't have any markings. It's got a safety switch here, and it's let me see. And so it's good, but it's so gentle. It's just, you know, and you know, the action of the Mikov is, you know, harsh, and so for my wife, and it has this weird kind of serrated part and kind of this Godfather Protect kind of look to it, maybe. No markings on the blade, no information from the seller. I have no idea what this is, but I thought it was just cool, and my wife loves it, and I told her I wanted to show this thing, and it's just a neat little knife for her. And you know, I mean, you know, so I guess that's, I mean, I have other thing, lots of fixed blades and crazy swords and stuff, but as far as pocket knives, you know, those are kind of maybe some of the more interesting ones that I have. And I have a lot of traditional like cases and stuff that my grandfather's, and a couple of regular pocket knives that I bought, just lock blades and stuff. But I didn't really start getting into weird stuff until, you know, maybe like a year and a half ago when I decided I would have started chopping things in the yard. But my wife's been very supportive, I have to say. I told her just to think of it as performance art.
And how many knives you have in total?
You know, I've never counted. Probably, you know, over 100, I would say. Probably more than that. I've probably got maybe, you know, 20 or so machetes and 5 or 6 swords, and probably folders, maybe 70 or 80. You know, probably over 100.
And are you still buying fixed blade, machetes, swords, or no?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'll there's things that I want, and but mostly I'll get it depends. If I've gotten a cool machete and I fool with it, then I'm more likely to buy something different next time. I kind of just rotate around because I like different things, and I like the machetes. You know, they have different weights and sizes, and they're just fun to. I mean, I've really learned a lot about the proper tool matters. Now I've got it down to about 3 or 4 things. If I can't cut it with these 3 or 4 things, I can't cut it. But I've learned a lot about the geometry and speed versus and all of that. I have probably the most valuable thing I have is I don't know if y'all if you have the Forged in Fire. I imagine I don't know why you would.
I've watched several series.
Well, there was an episode where now I told you about the Knife for Death. So I watched an episode of Forged in Fire, and there's a competitor. His name's Ray Kirk. He's an older man, and he was brought back on the fan favorites, and he made it to the final round, and the final weapon was the Filipino Panabas. I didn't know how it would go. I hope I haven't gone on about, I hope I did it right. But yeah, anyway, I have the man who competed, he made me a replica of his final weapon, and that's what I was going to use for the knife for death. So that I have the big, and I like to break it out every once in a while. So I just kind of like all kinds of blades and so forth. And thank you so much for having me. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I talked more than I listened. That's why I don't talk on my videos.
Thank you, Russ, for being here. Thank you for talking about the knives. Of course, we had some connection issues, but hopefully, guys, you like this video. So please type in the comments. What do you think? Do you want us to continue? Of course, now we see how we need to manage this podcast. So next time it will be more organized. So please type in the comments and email us if you want to participate in our podcast. Have a good day. Bye-bye.